Saint Francis de Sales, 1567 to 1622, was a bishop of Geneva, theologian, preacher, and one of the greatest masters of Catholic spirituality, proclaimed a doctor of the Church by Pope Pius IX. Born in his family's castle in Savoy, in present-day France, Francis studied law in Paris and Padua, but chose the priesthood over a legal career. As a priest and then as a bishop, he was noted for his gentleness, patience, and ability to bring back to the Catholic faith many inhabitants of the Chablais region who had converted to Protestantism. He founded, together with Saint Joan of Chantal, the Order of the Visitation of Saint Mary. Saint Francis de Sales is best known for his idea that holiness is not reserved for monks and clerics, but is a calling addressed to all people, parents, merchants, officials, or nobles. His spirituality emphasizes the love of God, gentleness, and faithfulness in daily duties. In 1609, Francis's most famous work, Introduction to the Devout Life, was published, and over the years it has been republished 40 times and translated into all the languages of international circulation, including English, Italian, Latin, Spanish, and German, in Romanian. Saint Francis explains how any Christian can live a holy life amidst ordinary obligations. The book offers advice on prayer, virtues, temptations, and the spiritual life. Purity is the lily among virtues, by it men approach to the angels. There is no beauty without purity, and human purity is chastity. We speak of the chaste as honest, and of the loss of purity as dishonor. Purity is an intact thing, its converse is corruption. In a word, its special glory is in the spotless whiteness of soul and body. No unlawful pleasures are compatible with chastity. The pure heart is like the mother of pearl, which admits no drop of water save that which comes from heaven. It is closed to every attraction save such as are sanctified by holy matrimony. Close your heart to every questionable tenderness or delight. Guard against all that is unprofitable, though it may be lawful, and strive to avoid unduly fixing your heart even on that which in itself is right and that good. Every one has great need of this virtue. Those living in widowhood need a brave chastity, not only to forego present and future delights, but to resist the memories of the past, with which a happy married life naturally fills the imagination, softening and weakening the will. Saint Augustine lauds the purity of his beloved Alypius, who had altogether forgotten and despised the carnal pleasures in which his youth was passed. While fruits are whole, you may store them up securely, some in straw, some in sand, or amid their own foliage. But once bruised, there is no means of preserving them save with sugar or honey. Even so, the purity, which has never been tampered with, may well be preserved to the end. But once that has ceased to exist, nothing can ensure its existence but the genuine devotion, which, as I have often said, is the very honey and sugar of the mind. The unmarried need a very simple, sensitive purity, which will drive away all over-curious thoughts and teach them to despise all merely sensual satisfactions. The young are apt to imagine that of which they are ignorant to be wondrous sweet, and as the foolish moth hovers around a light and, persisting in coming too near, perishes in its inquisitive folly, so they perish through their unwise approach to forbidden pleasures. And married people need a watchful purity whereby to keep God ever before them, and to seek all earthly happiness and delight through Him alone, ever remembering that He has sanctified the state of holy matrimony by making it the type of His own union with the Church. The Apostle says, "Follow peace with all men, and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord," by which holiness he means purity. Of a truth, my daughter, without purity, no one can ever see God, nor can any hope to dwell in His tabernacle except he lead an uncorrupt life. 40. And our blessed Lord Himself has promised the special blessing of beholding Him to those that are pure in heart. How to maintain purity? Be exceedingly quick in turning aside from the slightest thing leading to impurity, for it is an evil which approaches stealthily, and in which the very smallest beginnings are apt to grow rapidly. It is always easier to fly from such evils than to cure them. Human bodies are like glasses, which cannot come into collision without risk of breaking. or to fruits, which, however fresh and ripe, are damaged by pressure. Never permit any one to take any manner of foolish liberty with you, since, although there may be no evil intention, the perfectness of purity is injured thereby. Purity has its source in the heart, but it is in the body that its material results take shape, and therefore it may be forfeited both by the exterior senses and by the thoughts and desires of the heart. All lack of modesty in seeing, hearing, speaking, smelling, or touching is impurity, especially when the heart takes pleasure therein. As Paul says without any hesitation, that impurity and uncleanness, or foolish and unseemly talking, are not to be so much as that named among Christians. The bee not only shuns all carrion, but abhors and flies far from the faintest smell proceeding therefrom. The bride of the canticles is represented with hands dropping with myrrh, a preservative against all corruption. Her lips are like a fall thread of scarlet, the type of modest words. Her eyes are dove's eyes, clear and soft. Her nose is as the tower of Lebanon which looketh towards Damascus, and incorruptible. Her ears are hung with earrings of pure gold. And even so the devout soul should be pure, honest, and transparent in hand, lip, eye, ear, and the whole body. Remember that there are things which blemish perfect purity, without being in themselves downright acts of impurity. Anything which tends to lessen its intense sensitiveness, or to cast the slightest shadow over it, is of this nature, and all evil thoughts or foolish acts, of levity or heedlessness, are as steps towards the most direct breaches of the law of chastity. Avoid the society of persons who are wanting in purity, especially if they are bold, as indeed impure people always are. If a foul animal licks the sweet almond tree, its fruit becomes bitter. And so a corrupt, pestilential man can scarcely hold communication with others, whether men or women, without damaging their perfect purity. Their very glance is venomous, and their breath blighting like the basilisk. It is said that those who eat the plant called angelica always have a sweet, pleasant breath, and those who cherish the angelic virtues of purity and modesty will always speak simply, courteously, and modestly. As to unclean and light-minded talk, as Paul says, such things should not even be named 83 among us, for as he elsewhere tells us, evil communications corrupt good manners. Those impure words which are spoken in disguise and with an affectation of reserve are the most harmful of all. For just as the sharper the point of a dart, so much deeper it will pierce the flesh, so the sharper an unholy word, the more it penetrates the heart. And as for those who think to show themselves knowing when they say such things, they do not even understand the first object of mutual intercourse among men, who ought rather to be like a hive of bees gathering to make honey by good and useful conversation, than like a wasp's nest feeding on corruption. If any impertinent person addresses you in unseemly language, show that you are displeased by turning away, or by whatever other method your discretion may indicate. On the other hand, seek out good and pure men, read and ponder holy things. For the word of God is pure, and it will make those pure who study. Wherefore David likens it to gold and precious stones. Always abide close to Jesus, Christ crucified, both spiritually in meditation and actually in Holy Communion. For as all those who sleep upon the plant called Agnus Castus become pure and chaste, so if you rest your heart upon our dear Lord, the very Lamb, pure and immaculate, you will find that soon both heart and soul will be purified of all spot or stain.